Following last week's shocking 13% single-day plunge in Tesla's stock, wiping out roughly $150 billion in market value, Elon Musk and President Trump have ignited an explosive public feud that has captivated the world but also has Wall Street on edge. Elon Musk's blistering attack on Trump's big beautiful bill on X, labeling it a disgusting abomination, has put Tesla in the crosshairs as the bill attacks the electric vehicle industry and makes no changes to the lucrative subsidies in the oil and gas sector. On top of that, Trump retaliated, hinting at slashing federal contracts for Musk's companies, including Tesla and SpaceX, escalating the clash even further. By Friday, Tesla shares recovered a modest 3.7%, but the volatility is far from over, as Elon Musk and Donald Trump still disagree about passing this bill, which rivals the number of pages in Lord of the Rings, increases the U.S. deficit to new heights, and could drastically reshape America's economic landscape. Before we continue, stop using Yahoo Finance, stop using Google Finance, and visit my newly redesigned website, themarketisopen.com, for instant stock quotes and quarterly financial data going back up to 17 years, and it's all freely available. Elon Musk has publicly criticized Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, formerly known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, calling it a disgusting abomination due to its impact on the federal deficit and its contradiction to his cost-cutting efforts at the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Elon Musk's biggest concern is the ever-growing federal budget deficit, which this bill will continue to significantly increase, with estimates ranging from $2.5 trillion to even $5 trillion over a decade. He argues that this undermines DOGE's mission to reduce government spending as it burdens Americans with crushingly unsustainable debt, something that Elon Musk thought would change under the Trump administration. It seems that there is a bit of a paradox in this bill, where many of the new provisions appear to be fairly positive, things that Trump ran on, people voted for, and do seem like the right thing to do, but could have negative side effects, which is where the clash between Elon and Trump comes into play. For instance, Trump's new bill would eliminate tax on tips for service industry workers and would exempt overtime pay from federal tax through 2028. It temporarily increases the child tax credit by $500 to $2,500 during that time period. It includes provisions to reduce or eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits for seniors, and also has a host of new provisions and deductions for businesses, such as immediate deduction of domestic R&D expenditures through 2030. And it also allocates government funds to bolster border wall security and the military. It does make cuts to Medicaid, imposing stricter rules for eligibility, and it bans states from regulating AI. And there are tons of other provisions that this bill brings forth. Focusing on the tax cuts, it's important to realize that while it seems like a great idea to cut taxes on tips and overtime and such, and reduce government taxes and involvement is always appreciated, but this does reduce the government's revenue and therefore contributes to increasing the deficit without some sort of counterbalance. This means that the government needs to borrow or print money in order to pay for these cuts, which very much defeats the purpose. It's like transferring money from the left pocket to the right. Instead of taxing Americans directly, the tax will come indirectly and be distributed to everyone through government-inspired inflation and higher prices, eating away at those former tax cuts. That's why Elon Musk is advocating that the spending cuts aren't deep enough. The government truly at least needs to break even and halt the deficit in its tracks from growing so rapidly to prevent what Elon Musk is forecasting is a total collapse of the United States. While a lot of these new measures sound great and should eventually happen, perhaps the timing is off, as currently balancing the budget, effectively breaking even, is more important than many of these promised tax cuts. Now, arguably, and from Trump's perspective, it's still possible that many of these cuts, although predicted to increase the deficit, could have positive side effects of growing the economy. For example, typically when businesses throughout the country receive tax cuts, they reinvest that excess cash into their companies, into the economy, hiring more people to grow faster, and that spurs higher employment, better paying jobs, and could actually increase the tax revenue for the government, which offsets the money lost through tax breaks. Plus, Trump is now collecting money through tariffs, but many don't believe that this revenue will be enough to counter the increased deficits. And so Elon Musk has come to the conclusion that he needs the country to do well, to be able to balance its financials in the same way that an individual or company should, in order for the businesses, including his own, but all throughout the United States, to succeed long term, and to have a fighting chance against countries like China, which don't have a ballooning deficit and are burning the 3 a.m. oil to be number one in electric vehicles, in AI, manufacturing, and a global leader in many industries worldwide. It's a higher priority for the US to get back on track for Elon Musk than even the current push for electric vehicles, solar, and other initiatives that Tesla and SpaceX are working on, which will benefit and keep the United States competitive globally. The big beautiful bill threatens to axe the $7,500 electric vehicle tax credit, which is important to Tesla's sales, and also imposes a $250 annual fee on EV drivers for any type of EV, which will hamper the country's transition to sustainable energy products. Elon Musk obviously cares about this, but it's more important to cut total government spending. If the US isn't strong, then none of his companies really matter. The upsetting thing for him is that while electric vehicle incentives were tossed out, which does save the government money, there were no concessions at all from the oil and gas sector, which receives trillions from the government in the form of some direct subsidies, but also subsidies and incentives that are built into the tax code. Elon Musk is for a level playing field, which includes reducing or eliminating subsidies for oil and gas, whose replacement may eventually be inevitable anyways. This is simply delaying it in the US, which could come at a cost, as China is already very much in the lead in electric vehicles at a global scale, and they're knocking on the door. Now, there is a new deduction of up to $10,000 on auto loans for US assembled cars through 2029. This could actually benefit Tesla immensely, as it reduces the monthly payment for its customers, which was one of the most important metrics that Tesla was looking at when pricing its vehicles. It was responsible for Tesla's price drops when interest rates were increased a few years ago. And Tesla has the most US-made content in its vehicles, giving it an edge over many other brands. Although this rule would be subsidizing gas cars as well, which is a little strange and isn't needed. The oil and gas industry is already getting many types of subsidies. This adds yet another. But it is interesting, and another paradox perhaps, that under the Biden administration, which allegedly was pro-EV but anti-Tesla, as evidenced by the multiple lawsuits against the company, and the president, Biden, never mentioning their name and alienating Elon Musk, Tesla didn't do well. The stock actually did nothing or dropped for 3 years straight under Biden. Whereas the Trump administration doesn't care at all about EVs and would rather push oil and gas, but also has nothing against Elon Musk, save the comments and threats this past week between Elon and Trump, with Trump saying that he should terminate contracts with Elon's companies, but this seems to be more of an online feud than real action. Tesla may actually do better under this administration that isn't targeting them for ridiculous things. Now, although Elon Musk and the president went back and forth over social media this week, taking shots at each other, causing Tesla stock to get crushed by 13% in one day, as Elon Musk pushes his way back into politics after investors thought he was more focused on his companies, this is still likely the case, but doesn't stop Elon from voicing his opinion on what he believes is this important matter. If anything, and many think this may be staged, which is unlikely since Elon Musk deleted a tweet exposing Trump, but standing up to Trump may bring back the more liberal and Democrat customers who may have shied away from the brand when Elon Musk fully supported Trump. In fact, this shows that Elon Musk is very genuine and indeed putting the country before making friends and his own personal interests, something that other politicians have trouble doing. Because of this, it's worth it to realize that perhaps he's getting people to rethink how government functions, especially related to excessive spending. When one of the largest builders or manufacturers in the country, Elon Musk with SpaceX and Tesla and his other companies combined, where you have Apple's iPhones, Nvidia's GPUs, even Ford and General Motors sell way more cars than Tesla, but much of it is actually outsourced to other countries. Whereas Elon Musk's US operations are counterintuitively domestically sourced, proving that this can be done in the US. And so when Elon Musk is essentially sacrificing potential benefits to his companies, which are indeed keeping the US afloat, it may be worth listening to reconsider how these government actions will affect all American companies and Americans for decades to come. So who do you think is right in terms of this big, beautiful bill? Trump wants to bring tax cuts and other benefits to the American people, but at a risk of higher long-term debt and inflation, whereas Elon Musk is willing to take the shorter-term pain of larger spending cuts and fewer tax cuts to right this deficit issue in the hopes of longer-term prosperity. Which would you rather have? Don't forget to watch my last video on Tesla's new permanent magnet motor being deployed throughout its entire fleet. Visit our new website, themarketisopen.com. Please hit the like button and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. And a huge shout out to all of our patrons that helped us support our channel. Your support helps us to continue to make great content. Thank you guys so much for watching.